Hello everyone and welcome back to Marlon Talks NRL SuperCoach, here to get into round 13, kind of. We still have a pretty big game tomorrow, State of Origin game 1 to go through. There could be injuries to key players and whatnot, but thought we would do a bit more of a Q&A style stream today. There's a few things I still want to talk about preview-wise that I would normally cover, but for full transparency, I've been away all weekend and also yesterday and today. Only got back to Sydney at about, I think, 5 o'clock. Had a work thing, and so I was up in the Hunter Valley this whole weekend. Haven't had the time to really prep as I normally would. So I thought, let's just do a bit of a Q&A stream, and obviously, let's see what happens with State of Origin tomorrow. Any injuries, whatnot, anything in terms of backing up players. Do we think that that's going to be any different? And then maybe on Thursday I might do another stream, which might not be so long. But I thought, let's just do some initial Q&A for today. And probably 30 to 45 minutes. I don't really want it to be much longer than that. I'm also quite tired as well. But I wanted to do something. And it feels like it's been a long time since I have done a live stream and spoken to a live audience, because last few weeks have just been, every Tuesday there's been something. And so I had to do like a video instead. Obviously I couldn't do the Sunday live streams either. But hopefully back for more normal scheduling in the next few rounds. So good to see so many of you already in the stream. Martin Lau, one of the best. Martin Lau, one of the most generous people I've seen. Simply the best is Aaron Miller, Egan Kelleher, Mitchell, Tuapuro, Hanny, Darren, Nixon, Brandon Knowles. Good to see so many of you already there. And so in this one, we'll go through just more questions and things. I'll quickly cover off a few things that I do normally talk about, like my rank and whatnot. But give the stream a like as well, guys, if you are enjoying it. And you will talk about some of the top 10 trade ins and outs. But want to caveat that obviously a lot will depend on what happens tomorrow in State of Origin. Hopefully a New South Wales win for any of my fellow New South Welshmen in the chat. Sorry, Queenslander, I can see you in there. But I normally do like you. But this time of year, we've got to be a bit more acquaintances / enemies rather than friendly. But round 12, not a great week for me. If you heard me last week on socials, I wasn't really expecting a good round. I only had 10 players in the end, but I pulled out 860 points, which I think from 10 players, and I captained Tarp, and he only scored like 58. I actually thought it wasn't a bad effort, but obviously it was a big red arrow, so I went down to 3,800. Shout out to someone, I can't remember his username, but he said I'm going to be ranked worse than 2,500 after round 12, and I said, let's see. He was right. 3,800. This is my worst rank of the season. So hopefully got to steady the ship. And it's just been constant red arrows since early in the year. But for me, I will hopefully make some more sensible trade decisions. I think my trade decisions have actually been fine. The thing that's been letting me down is obviously injuries hurt, and then not quite nailing captaincy and whatnot. So hopefully we turn everything around there. But round 13 onwards, because I really want to make my moves back up during the bye period, because after that, it does get a lot harder to make moves. I've got 21 trades left, which does feel low. I think maybe hopefully can just start consolidating over the next few rounds. So that's currently where I'm standing rank-wise. And in terms of talking points for round 13 TLT-wise, not a whole heap, to be honest. It was pretty boring. I guess for the Dragons, Tuipulotu was back. He becomes an option for sure, considering he was killing it before his injury. I think he has got like an 86 average. Most teams have actually named all of their Origin players. So Newcastle, Gold Coast, Melbourne, Cowboys, Broncos, Rabbitohs, Penrith, Parramatta, Roosters. They've all named their State of Origin players this week, but you obviously just need to see what happens tomorrow in terms of backing up. So it's good to see that there's no forced restings that we're seeing yet. I expect more of that to happen in round 16 and round 19, the two next mini bye weeks. For this mini bye week, though, as it currently stands, not too much carnage, but famous last words, we could see a lot of injuries tomorrow potentially. Tom Trbojevic out for a week with that aggravated cork. Pretty bizarre stuff that Manly decided to keep playing him when he had this, and he's re-aggravated it on the weekend. He's out for a week, but they've said that it's only going to be for a week. So I did in the end buy Turbo. I was kind of hinting at that, and this is the problem with doing those streams on Tuesday. Your mind changes so much, and you get different news coming out, and things about his recovery from the cork was looking better. Just looking at the matchups, I was like, oh, this is really tempting. So in the end I bought Turbo. I did buy Leahai Hopewadi, which I was very happy with. Scored 100 and is a good hedge for Turbo because he's now back to fullback. Koloamatangi back to prop again, which is good because obviously A lot of people are looking at Kolomatangi this week. Fisher Harris is back for that. That's supposed to say the was, not the was. So yeah, bloody autocorrect. And then, yes, Tom Starling out for a week as well. So Owen Paddy is there. And no Lockie Galvin, I guess, amidst all of the transfer business happening with him. In terms of cheapies, you got McCarthy from the Newcastle Knights, named at centre, 246k, -7 break even, if you maybe were looking for a downgrade this week, who probably looks like he actually will play round 15 for you. So, a few TLT things there. And sorry guys, I know I call this a Q&A stream, but I wanted to... I did prep a few things, not just going in empty-handed. But yeah, I've just circled here on the screen, I guess the teams that I'm looking at now who will probably be a bit more relevant when it comes to the bye schedule. Now that we've passed round 12, we're continuing to look ahead. Apart from Canberra, which is actually a mistake. So I'll actually just get rid of that right now. So, that's not what I'm trying to do. Sorry. So the teams that I've circled in red here are the ones who, in the next kind of period of round 13 to round 19, they only have one bye. So they're kind of easy to navigate. You've got the Broncos, who only miss round 15. The Titans only miss round 18. Melbourne only miss round 15. Newcastle only miss round 18. The Cowboys probably the best, where they have no buys through this whole 13 to 19 period. So obviously you're looking at the likes of Scott Drinkwater. The Dragons also only have the bye in round 16. The Rabbitohs only have a bye in round 19. So those teams only have the one bye in the next few weeks. So they are kind of firming higher on the radar in terms of your bye coverage. That's why guys are looking at Kolomatangi, Ewan Aitken. People are looking at Tuipulotu again, maybe even a Gutherson. You know, people are still maybe buying a Dylan Lucas and Fletcher Sharp, who were the absolute heroes for my team last week. Probably the only reason why I managed to put together a somewhat okay score. Melbourne become very, very interesting if you're okay for round 15. You know, they've got a great run of games coming up as well. So your Hughes, Elikatoas, Pappenhausens, etc. And Broncos less relevant Supercoach-wise without their origin players. But if you are looking at point of differences like Jesse Arthurs is at fullback, Ezra Mam, I know is someone that people might also be interested in as well. So these are the teams that I'm currently looking at as well for trade-ins. If you're trying to prioritize your buy coverage, these are the ones I'd be recommending. But again, I said it a lot on last week's, I think it was Thursday or Friday video. You really just want to be looking ahead at your own team and identifying the weeks that you're going to be at a what's the word? Where you're going to be more difficult to put out a full team, or like where you're a bit short in terms of getting to 13 in those major buy rounds. You really just got to look at every individual week, identify what you need in terms of coverage, and pick the players who play those teams. It's pretty common sense, but just that little bit of planning will help you a lot. And that helped me a lot with my trade plans last week, and it's helping again for this week as well. So yeah, a few things to prime us, I guess. But yeah, I will get into some questions now. And yeah, guys, again, just want to reiterate, it's been pretty hectic weekend. I haven't had that much time to do any kind of research or prep or anything like that. So I'll probably be doing a lot of that on the fly. But I'll try to bring out some talking points as well from the questions. So I'll just leave it on this screen for now. But yeah, I'm just going to pull questions out of the stream chat. And also, just let me know, guys, if you like this format of just a bit more, not loosey-goosey, but a bit more laid back. Just take the questions, not really go so much through the plan stuff. Matt Sherwood, we've got the same score. Yep, that's good. Handy says, I think Drinkwater is a buy. Yeah, so on Drinkwater, and I guess fullbacks in general, I've got the top 10 trade-ins and outs on my screen, so just give me a second. I don't know if Drinky's in the top trade-ins. Let's have a quick look at it here. He wasn't. Tom Trbojevic was, I think, further up there. He's currently 7th. I expect that to keep going down. Obviously, a lot of people are looking at him this week. Drinkwater does have a very, very high break-even this week, but he also has a really great matchup against the West Tigers. I'm not sure what position you'd be in that you're selling a fullback this week, unless it's maybe like an Iongi from the Parramatta Eels. With 151 break-even, I think Drinkwater, it depends. Are you really prioritizing points or cash? Because he could go down in price this week, and then he versus Melbourne away. Before playing around 15 against the Dolphins, when I think he will be someone that you definitely want to be owning that round. Then he covers 16 against the Roosters, which is good. 17 against the Titans is really, really good as well. Then it's Melbourne, who are origin affected in round 18. Drinkwater definitely feels like someone you need to have in round 15. I think I saw someone in the chat saying, is he a sell? Just because of the high break even, definitely not. I think you just need a time when you maybe need to get on a tour Drinkwater. So if you're someone who owns, I assume a lot of people already own Pappenhausen, but maybe if you are someone who owns a Iongi, who does Iongi have this week? He's got Penrith. It's at Combank though, even though it's an away game technically for Parramatta. I think Iongi is still a fine upgrade to Drinkwater because Drinkwater is a good captaincy shout this week. But if you're trying to prioritize other guys, maybe wait for his cash to fall. You could maybe wait for a couple of weeks, but yeah, I think round 15 you definitely need to be getting Drinkwater at that time. No way Haas is backing up. Yeah, let's see what happens with Payne Haas, but he's been cleared, good to go. But yeah, he's definitely someone I look at as higher risk of not backing up, I guess, for his team. Stephen Crichton could be the same as well. I think Crichton has been cleared to play for the Blues, but the fact that he picked up that issue, I think Bulldogs would probably want to... the Bulldogs are on the bye this week anyway, actually, so it doesn't even matter. All right. Like the video, says Benny G. Welcome, Benny G. Good to see you. And yeah, please do like the video as well, guys. Do I think Cleary, Haas, and Munster play this week? I think Cleary and Munster will play. The game's in Queensland and Melbourne are versing the Titans in the Gold Coast, I think. So not much travel. I think Munster will back up. I think Cleary will back up as well. The fact that he's been named also suggests that because we've heard the reports that in round 16 when Penrith have to go all the way to New Zealand, Ivan Cleary's kind of come out and said he's not going to play his Origin players. So I think the fact that he's been named, of course, if he gets through the game unscathed tomorrow, I expect Cleary to play. Payne Haas is probably the biggest risk out of them. It's Manly, it's away, so he would have to travel to Sydney. And I think if he plays big minutes, if you say he plays over 50 to 60 minutes for the New South Wales Blues, then I think there's a chance that he doesn't back up. So again, we can't really comment until we see kind of how it plays tomorrow out with minutes. But for me, Payne Haas, biggest risk out of them. Gun to head, I would say that he probably won't play just because he had this quad issue. Shouldn't the Tigers also be circled? Yes, thank you. This is what happens when I'm trying to put some prep together, not to come in completely unprepared. And you missed this. But yeah, the West Tigers are another team that you can look at who only have the one bye in round 15 coming up. Thank you. Who mentioned that? Lachlan for mentioning that. So yeah, I know someone that was looking at maybe hooker, maybe like an Api Coruscant. I'm still not really a massive fan of making trades at hooker. I know Coruscant had that really, really big score not last week, but in round 11. I don't know. It could mean if you're holding... I mean, obviously, Terrell May, everyone owns. It means if you're holding on still to maybe someone like an Adam Dewey and you're finding that actually you really need numbers in 16, 18, 19, someone like a Dewey could actually be a really good hold, just purely for coverage. And he's still got that really handy dual status as well. Is it worth waiting a week on Drinky, hoping he loses a bit of value? Yeah, I think Radio Buckley on that. Yeah, I think you can definitely wait. Hi, Man, long-time listener, first-time caller. Yeah, definitely not a first-time caller, Benny. Is Horse a sell if you're moving him to Kolomatangi? And is Toya to Hopewadi viable? So I'll definitely take the Toya question first. So Rob Toya, he's got a negative 22 break-even. I think he is currently 540k. Cop-out answer, Benny G, but I think he is someone that you can wait to see what happens tomorrow. If New South Wales win, there's a chance that Toya doesn't play game 2, especially if the circumstances that someone like Latrell, puts a number on him. And if Murray Talangi is fit, then I think there's potentially that change. And then all of a sudden Toya plays 15, 16, 18, 19. But if Queensland win, I suspect he's going to stay in the team. Then I think he's definitely still a sell, even with a negative break even, because he would just be missing too many games. He'll miss round 14, he'd miss round 15, he would play 16, but he would miss 17, he'd miss 18. So Toya, I think it really does depend on the result and how he himself goes. To Hopewadi, I do think that is a upgrade. There's not much of a price difference between the two. Hopewadi at fullback, I do really like him at fullback. He was really good on the wing last week, of course, and scored that double. He did benefit from that whole Will Penasini concussion, but he scored 40 points in base last week, 42 the week before on the wing. The games at fullback earlier this year, we're looking at 78, 46, and 87. I do think he's just a better option than Toya. So I think if you're happy to make that move and you really want Hopewadi, really good matchups in the bye period, then I think that's completely fine. Just with Hopewadi, and I kind of thought of this as well when buying him last week. He will be someone I think in round 19 I could very easily see myself selling. He'll miss round 19, but then he goes into Melbourne Bulldogs, Roosters, Canberra. Not a great run after that round 19 bye. And I think round 19 will be the most difficult week. But I think there is potential points upside still up until round 19. That makes it worth getting him for sure. Horsburgh to what was the question? It was to Kolomatangi. So yeah, I missed this game on the weekend. So I know that Horsburgh got a sin bin. So he only played 51 minutes and scored 44. Break even is not too high. I personally still think Horsburgh is completely fine to keep, because I think he's going to be that guy who will get you that kind of mid-50s to low 60s average. So I definitely don't think he's a firm sell, but Kolomatangi in the middle is ridiculous. And I think there is you're probably easily going to get 15 to 20 points of value, or not value, but 15 to 20 points extra a week. I think if Kolomatangi keeps playing in the middle, his numbers from last year, I think, were in the low 70s. Already he's gotten 72 and 104 playing in the middle with ridiculous base stats. And he's only 60k, 70k more expensive. I think that's worth the upgrade. So I think Horsburgh to Kolomatangi is an upgrade. I'm not selling Horsburgh, but I'm lucky in that I've got other players I can sell instead for Kolomatangi. But yeah, I think Benny G, that trade is completely fine, in my opinion. I think you're going to get better points out of doing that move. Nicholas with the $2.99 donation, thank you so much. Can you say Louis gets lucky? Can you say Louis gets lucky and his team sucks bum? Your team sucks bum, Louis. Thank you, Nicholas, for the donation. That's very kind. I think I had to give a shout out to Louis last week as well. Need to buy a cheap as centre wing. Do I get Fletcher Hunt or Alan Fitzgibbon or enough? Please help, mate. Cisco, I actually think Carl McCarthy is your man. So there's no Greg Marzu yet for the Knights, but the fact that McCarthy's been named at centre, Fletcher Hunt, I suspect, will be the one who drops out when Marzu comes back. It looks like the whole experiment of, Dylan Lucas just staying at centre, Thomas Cant back row is not what the Knights are going to be doing. And so I think McCarthy for sure at 246k covers this week, covers 15 if he keeps the role. Good numbers last week as well. He scored 46 points in base, 51 points in playing at the centres. So good work rate, very playable even in those major buy rounds. McCarthy would be my guy at centre. He's 246k, -7 break even. That's probably the downgrade at centre I'd be going for. If you're looking for one this week, you're actually getting someone who could play in round 15 as well. Who to bring in for Jenkins would be fifth centre wing needed for buy coverage. Again, Joshua, bit of a cop-out answer, but I do think you need to just look at your team in each of those major and mini buy weeks and just assess which of those weeks you feel like you need the most cover. That will automatically then pull you in the direction of saying which teams you need to be picking from and therefore which centre. So, top of the head, you've got your good centres are still like a Lucas, a Sharp. Garrick's been a little bit underwhelming, but I still think he's someone that is worth getting. Lehigh Hopewadi's got that really good set of games in those major bye weeks. If you can wait a week, someone like a Kale Iro as well scored very well last week. Thank God I bought him in. I could finally benefit from him scoring a try. Jenkins' break-even's 83, so it's a little bit high, but he's versing Parramatta this week. I think Jenkins could be a completely fine play this week, and then you can maybe look to move him on next week if you want to get someone like an Iro, because I think Iro's a really, really good get next week. Sharkies have got Warriors, which is tough, but then they've got the Dragons in 15, and they cover 16 and 19. And yeah, just check your team, guys, because I have a feeling that people are going to be more covered for round 18 than probably they think. Round 18 actually looks like a fairly easy week to cover, so the fact that the Sharkies miss round 18 might not be that much of a bother. And you could say similar with the Herbie Farnworth as well. So yeah, I think Jenkins actually could be fine to keep for this week. Would I prioritise Kolomatangi or Eli Katoa this week? Katoa has the nice draw. Katoa does have a very, very good draw. Just going to have a quick look at his break-even. So Katoa's got a break-even of 79 and he's 654k. Kolomatangi, I just need to remind myself of his break-even. It's 21 and a little bit cheaper. If I was buying one of the two... Because that matchup this week against Titans looks really, really juicy for Katoa. Doesn't play 15, but yeah, draw is nice. Again, cop-out answer, have a look and see what rounds you need more cover. Round 19 is going to be a tricky round to cover. Just be wary of that, guys, because a lot of people looking at your Rabbitohs, a lot of people already going to have Raiders players, Tamale, Horsburgh, Tarpany, Starling even, and then you've got the, who's the other team on the bye? Manly, Hopewadi, Garrick, if you still own Turbo. That week is going to be very difficult to cover already, and then you're going to have players resting. So I think if you have, just stress test your team. Look at your team in round 19 if you can, and say, okay, I've got X amount of Origin players. If I take out all of them, if none of them backed up, plus I have all of these guys on the bye, how many players can I put out? And if it's 13 in a week where you need to field a full 17, that might just lean you in the direction of saying, you know what, I actually just need to get someone who covers that week. Eli Katoa is the one who does that. Therefore, he's the one who I buy. I still think Seasons and Katoa will be your number one second row forward. I know Koloamatangi playing in the middle is huge, but there is potential still that Koloamatangi might not stay in the middle. He might move to an edge at any point. And then all of a sudden, he's not as good of a Supercoach option. Eli Katoa's role is 80 minutes, right edge. That's not changing. And really good matchup this week. So I actually still think if you're buying one of the two, Katoa, I think, would maybe still be the one that I'd be looking at as a priority. But yeah, like Koloamatangi is awesome trading this week. So that's a tough decision. But again, I'm just thinking long term. Ideally, if you can stagger it so that you can get both of them. With a break even of 21, Koloamatangi will get up to about 650, 660k. But again, you can kind of see what happens because, there's maybe some chat that he gets into the New South Wales team. If there's a couple of injuries and if he performs really well, he's versatile. He can play middle, he can play edge. New South Wales might need that for, game 2. So, Eli Katoa, there's no risk of anything like that happening, which is why I'm leaning towards him maybe as your option there. Is it worth holding King Tonga for another week? Look, I'm probably still holding King Tonga as it currently stands. He's got a break even of 28, so he's not going to go down massively in price. And if he stays in the team, look, he could be a number for round 15. What I'm thinking at the moment with King Tonga is just keeping him because I'm definitely going to be selling Cleary in round 15. So Cleary's got he's got the bye. Well, he missed game 2. He'll miss round 15 because of Origin. He'll miss round 16 because he's not going to play in New Zealand. Round 17 is against the Dogs, and then he misses 18 and then could rest 19. So round 15 definitely for me is a clear window to sell Cleary. And the reason why I want to keep King Tonga until then, because King Tonga has now got 5'8" halfback. What you could find, again, I don't think it will happen, but I'm someone who doesn't own Nico Hines. If for whatever reason Hines isn't available in round 15, but Jaden Campbell is, and I want Jaden Campbell, you can go Cleary to Jaden Campbell via King Tonga. So I think that duel is really handy. So I'm personally sitting on King Tonga till at least 15, just to give myself that flexibility. Maybe there's another 5'8" instead who I want to get in round 15, and you can do that switching and put King Tonga up to halfback. So yeah, I'm keeping him for the time being. It's not like he's got a super high break even anyway. As a Roosters, also guys, I'm just trying to pull out questions that I haven't answered yet already. So yeah, keep the questions coming in. I really like it, but don't feel offended if I miss your question. I'm just trying to cover all the various topics that we can. I'm not trying to prioritize particular people or anything like that. As a Roosters fan, who are you expecting to hold the spot out of Sandon and Savala for Sam Walker? I've got Sandon, Mamazelos at hooker and looking at an 80-minute Coruscant or Grant next week. Yeah, that's interesting because Savala was actually really, really good. And there's been some talk of Sandon Smith leaving as well because of all the talk about maybe the Roosters wanting to get a Cherry Evans. I'd still think that Sandon Smith and Sam Walker would be the two halves for the Roosters and not Savala. Savala's been really, really good, but he only came in after they decided with Chad Townsend, no, you're not our guy. Sandon Smith has been there from round 1. I would suspect that he's still the one who will be there when Sam Walker comes in. So yeah, I think Sandon Smith will be safe for the time being. And so yeah, in your particular position, I think you can afford to just keep rolling out Sandon Smith at hooker. Instead of, I don't think, again, hooker's not a great position, so making that upgrade to Coruscant right now, maybe not the best, in my opinion. And if you do get confirmation that Sandon Smith isn't the option, then you can always just sell at that point in time. But instead of predicting it, I think you just kind of wait and see how it plays out. Because it's not like it's a position where your upgrade is going to be so much better in terms of points payoff. Would you sell Starling to Owen Paddy now that he's starting? I wouldn't sell Starling for Owen Paddy. Up until that suspension last week, Starling has actually been killing it in terms of Supercoach. He's been playing good minutes. I'm just going to have a quick look at what Starling's minutes have been. He scored, if you look at the last 5 rounds, he's got a 5-round average of 60, 3-round of 69 minutes. Pretty much ever since I sold Tom Starling, which was I think in round 6 against Parramatta, his minutes have been 64, 62, 63, 70, 80, 80, 67. I wouldn't be buying Owen Paddy. It's just a 1-week thing, and the Raiders have just got very good games still long term. So for me, Starling, I think I'd be holding. Even if you don't have a backup hooker, honestly, I'd just take the AE and just use it as a free crack at a VC loop this week. What teams have had 2 buys already? I'm not 100% sure. I don't have that top of my head. Apologies. So I'm gonna skip that question just because I it's going to take me too much time, I think, to just go through and count all of that. So yeah, apologies. I'm gonna skip that one, but you can go and find that one hopefully yourself. I don't have that to hand, unfortunately. Sorry. Thoughts on Lomax? Eels actually have the bye in round 15 and round 18, so he'll play every game if he doesn't rest. I really like Lomax as he'll be a bit of a pod, because the thing is, no one is going to buy him, or not many will buy him, just because of that origin risk and things. But him and Moses, I can absolutely see just backing up after every single round. Parramatta need to win games. And if I look at their games, this week is okay because it's in Combank Stadium, it's in Sydney. I think they'll fly them down for that and play that one. Round 16 is the Titans. That looks like it's a home game. So again, that'll be a big travel from Perth, but I think he's a good chance of playing that. And then Lomax is just a season keeper as well, on the wing. Like, he had that big score of 121. His last score before that was 70. So, good base, goal kicking. I think Lomax is actually a really, really good shout. And we'll talk about Matt. We'll get to this quote, Matt, actually just now. If you actually look at it as a matchup for this week, if you look at Penrith, they've conceded 46% of tries on their left-hand side. So that's the Eels' right-hand side. So that's actually a really, really good edge for Lomax to be running at this week. So he absolutely could just be a great shout in terms of a center wing trade that not many people are going to be looking at. So yeah, if you can make those kind of upgrades, I actually really like Lomax as a trade in this week. And it's one of those ones where, not a lot of people are going to be going there. It's similar to like a Val Holmes. I've kind of said before, Val Holmes, I think round 17 is a good week for Val Holmes. But if I'm just going to have a quick look here at ownership stats, if I look at ownership in the top 5% of coaches, and then if I look for center wings, I just want to see where Lomax is currently at. I'd have to think it's very, very low. Let's have a quick look. See here. Lomax's ownership in the top 10%, top 5% is at 3%. So he's definitely a pod, and a very good one at that. I really like that Lomax shout. And if you look at the games as well, matchup-wise this week against Penrith looks good. And then good individual matchups moving forward. Bulldogs in 14 is a bit tough, but 16 he's got the Titans and then the Dragons and then Penrith again in round 19. And yeah, I think he's one of those players who's a good chance of backing up for Parramatta. Adam Barton says, "Hey man, quick shout out to you for the time you put in for making these videos. Thank you. I've hit the top 10 for the first time ever, and your channel has saved me lots of time on SC Stats. Thank you." So Adam is currently sitting 9th. I appreciate that so much, Adam. Thank you so much. That really, really means a lot to me. Even if I myself can't do well ranks-wise, if I'm helping other people, then that makes me very happy to see. So yeah, no, good work, Adam. You're absolutely killing it. Mate, go for glory. Hanny gives a $2.99 donation. Thank you so much for that. Drinkwater 100 plus and a buy this week, and Tui Pelotu. So yeah, I think we've kind of spoken about Drinkwater this week. You don't have to get Drinkwater this week because of that high break even, but he is still a completely fine buy. And as it currently stands, he is my captain. So if that means anything to you, despite my run of captaincies not being that great in the last few rounds, Drinkwater currently has my armband. I think it's a really good matchup for him. He's completely Origin unaffected. I think the Cowboys will have to play most of their Origin players as well, just to keep trying to win games. So yeah, I think Drinkwater is a very, very good shout for this round. And Tui Pelotu, so yeah, I owned Tui Pelotu at the beginning of the season, not straight away from the get-go, but after he had a few good scores. He's also a very, very nice point of difference. A break even of 36. He plays every single game except for round 16. So for me with Tui Pelotu, I think it was a hamstring injury he was coming back from, and it was a quite significant one at that. So for me, just taking the cautious approach, because injuries have killed me in the last few rounds, and I don't want to just be jumping into another player who is a potential risk of a re-injury. I would wait on Tui Pelotu probably until I'd at least give it this week. The Knights aren't the worst defensively, so I'd maybe give it a week. Even if he scores like 50 points, 60 points, he's not going to go up massively in price. And you can always just get that one game out of the way, and then you've got the confidence to go, okay, yep, I like what I saw. He's still fit. Get him in round 14. And he covers 15, covers 18, and he plays 19. It's just round 16, that mini bye week, that might leave you a bit short. But if you're already pretty well covered for that round, I really like Tui Pelotu as well. Lomax, I take Lomax over Tui Pelotu, of course, just I think in terms of a season keeper. But Tui Pelotu had like an 86 average before his injury. Like, there's definitely that left-hand bias for the Dragons. So yeah, I still like Tui Pelotu as well as a trade-in, but I probably wouldn't be doing it this week. Is it worth downgrading Munster or Campbell to King Tonga to free up money? Not for me, Daniel. For sure, Campbell I wouldn't. I know the next couple of matchups are a bit tough, but Campbell is a season keeper at 5'8", and he plays 15, plays 16, plays 19. He just misses on round 18. Campbell has a really good floor with his goal kicking. I think the Titans are pretty much going to play all of their Origin players. They pretty much have to. So Bo Fermor, Tino, Mo Fodawaker, I expect them all to be backing up. Low score this season is 46, and that was against the Dogs, who are obviously, maybe not last week, but for most of the season, they've been the best defense. And if you actually look at, I don't necessarily think Melbourne is a terrible matchup. If you look at the matchups for this week as well, if you look at Melbourne, they concede 60% of their tries to their right edge. So that's the Titans' left edge. I know Campbell doesn't exclusively play on the left, but the Titans are a team that still can score points on their day. He scored 63 versus the Roosters, 86 versus the Knights, who weren't bad defensively. For me, I wouldn't be selling Campbell. Munster, you could maybe sell in 15, because there is a chance that in round 15, if Munster misses 15, then he could miss 16 just because of that travel from Perth back to, I think Melbourne are playing in Sydney. So Munster could miss 16. He misses 15. He's got the Sharks in 17. Then he misses 18, and then again is a potential to not play 19. Munster maybe, but even again, still, I wouldn't do it this week, because if Munster backs up this week, you want him versus the Titans. And King Tonga's break-even is 28. He's not really been putting out massive scores. It's very likely his price is not even that different from what it is now. You can make that move next week if you had to. Ideally, though, you try to get both Munster and Campbell, I think, long-term as your 258s. What's my rank? I shared it earlier in the stream, so if you just scroll back to the beginning, 3,800 as it currently stands. But yeah, hopefully the goal is still to get top 1,000 by the end of the season. I think by the end of the bye period, if I can be in the top 1,000, I'd be very, very happy with that. Lachlan says, very keen on Lomax, getting 40 plus Justin runs in a few games for sure. I'm ranked 786 thanks to being bold. Join me, man. Benny G, I tried to be bold. I bought Tom Trbojevic last week and Lehigh Hopewadi. I think I'm trying to be bold. It's just not quite working out for me when injuries are screwing me over. Hey, man, out of either one trade, White to Kolomatangi, or two trades, White to Aitken and Hiroti to Lehigh, what would you do? Cheers, man. Yeah, a couple of players here we haven't spoken about yet. So Ewan Aitken is one. Really, really like him as an option. So he is named again at in the back row, I think, for the Rabbitohs. I'm going to quickly double check that before I just speak out of turn. Let me just quickly get to TLT. Sorry, give me a second, guys. Where is it? Where's TLT? I assume he's been named in the back row because a lot of people are looking at him. Rabbitohs. Yep. He's been named on the starting edge. So, yeah. And with Ewan Aitken, when he gets named on the edge and plays there, he gets really, really good base stats. So, the 3 games this year playing on the edge, 80-minute games, so he's good for minutes. 56 in base, 62 in base, and 60. So very, very safe floor. And he's dual. He's got second row forward, center wing status as well. Break even of 19. So he's probably likely to go up in price this week if he just punches out like another 60. He's already scored 2 tries as well this year. We spoke about the Rabbitohs. Very, very good buy coverage. It's just round 19 you need to be careful of. But Nafahu White to Aitken, I think, is fine. With Nafahu White, he's missing a few games. He's still injured as well. And I really like Ewan Aitken's dual status. So I think that's fine. Your question on would you do a second trade of Hiroti to Lehigh Hopewadi? What's the prognosis on Stone Street? I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks. Because again, Hiroti, he scored only 23 points last week. But on any given week, he can still punch out good scores. Just by virtue of the Sharks. I think I get Hopewadi though. Again, it's the thing of that Hopewadi's got these really good matchups in the major buy rounds. Of course, if round 16 is going to be difficult for you and round 19, don't get Hopewadi because the Sharks play 16 and they also play round 19. So again, you need to just be mindful of your coverage. And I suspect Hiroti will be available up until 1, 2, 3, 4. He should be there until at least round 17, round 18. But one thing with the Sharks' right wing is the points and the tries get shared across their backline. And most of it goes to the left-hand side with Mulatalo and Iro. Hiroti on that right wing last week didn't really get any attacking opportunities. Yeah, I think Hiroti to Hopewadi for me is, I think it's an upgrade. Hopewadi's got really, really good base as well. So in your situation, I would do the 2 trades, Jail. What do you think of VC Pappy into Captain May or Kolomatangi? I actually to be honest, mate, Riley, I completely forgot to even put Kolomatangi on the captaincy list because he hasn't been there all season long. So I just completely had a mind blank about putting him there. But yeah, I think he plays at 2 p.m. on Sunday against the Warriors. And Warriors is a good team in terms of they don't really give up too many points. Kolomatangi could be a very, very safe captaincy. But yeah, just quickly on captaincy for this round. For sure, Pappy, I think, has to be the VC. I know Fletcher Sharp has a good matchup on paper because the Dragons have actually fourth for conceding points to opposition 5/8. But a day game in the Gold Coast for a Pappy off a bye, you can't pass it up. You can go captaincy Pappy and then, Captainhausen. You can go VC Fletcher Sharp. You absolutely probably need to have something on Pappenhausen this week. I will be probably going VC Pappy as it currently stands. And then, I think just see how Pappy goes. And if you don't love Drinkwater this week or if you don't own Drinkwater, I probably would be going captain on a safer front rower this week, which would probably be like a Terrell May, coming off a bye, especially if New South Wales lose. He'll probably just put out a massive performance just to be like, see, told you so. And the Cowboys have actually been the fourth worst at defending front rowers. So I plugged the numbers, and Terrell May, if he plays about 70, 73 minutes, he'd score about 83 points purely just based on the Cowboys' PPM conceded to front rowers. So that looks really good. And Kolomatangi, of course, super safe in terms of him playing in the middle. I still don't know if I'd be going in captaining Kolomatangi. I just feel like Terrell May just feels more safe. But yeah, for sure, VC Pappy into a captain Terrell May. Matchup-wise, looks really, really good for this round. As it currently stands, I'm on captain Drinkwater, just to try to chase a bit more of that upside. But we'll see how Pappy... I'm just hoping that Pappy goes big, and then I just can take a free VC loop. But yeah, we'll see on Saturday afternoon how we feel. Turbo is a great trade. I did the same. Rested this week so he can score 231 against the Knights and 246 against the Titans. Oh God, let it happen, Denny. Let it happen. Love the videos, Aman. I'm 2 spots behind you. Oh, that's good, Blue Moon. Very close to me. Hopefully you're well ahead of me though. Actually, Ange makes a good point. I'm just going to circle back to that point on Hiroti. Yeah, so Sione Katoa is apparently due back in round 15. Yep, for sure then Hiroti won't last until 17, 18. So yeah, I think that Hiroti to Hopewadi trade, you absolutely pull the trigger on that one then. Aitken seems great, but the next 4 matchups are against 4 very good defenses. I don't mind this though for your forwards, like Kolomatangi, you and Aitken. It just means that there's probably less points, but more work in the field. So more tackles, more runs, all the good stuff for base focused players. I think it's completely fine for you and Aitken. It probably just means that he won't get many attacking stats. Like, if we look at the matchups, Raiders, Warriors, Bulldogs, Melbourne, those 4 are tough matchups. But he's still someone I think that you can reliably see for a 60 to 65 any given week. And Kolomatangi in the middle, mate, 70, 80 points. I think the draw doesn't really matter so much when it comes to your forwards. Hey, man, can we talk about Ezra Mam? Yeah, so I think people are looking at him maybe as 5'8". We identify the Broncos as a good team in terms of buy coverage. Look, for me, I'm not that interested at the moment. So he scored obviously that big 128 against the Dragons. But it's just historically Ezra Mam. Maybe I've never quite timed it with him. I just, like, at his price, negative 29 break even, 494k. He could be a stepping stone to a Jaden Campbell if you wanted to try to get Campbell that way. Obviously, he misses 15, but he's got Manly and the Titans next 2. If you're in a luxury position where you've got trades to say, you know what, Ezra Mam for 2 weeks, Manly, Titans, and then in round 15, maybe he's made you another 100k. That just bridges the gap to someone like a Jaden Campbell. But I wouldn't look at Ezra Mam as a long-term keeper at 5'8". His historical season averages in years past 51, 52, 55. He's kind of just like that 50 average player in Supercoach. And again, 5'8 is a position where not many fantastic options, so trying to minimize how many trades I use there. If I can just, as quickly as I can, get to a Campbell and Munster and then kind of set and forget. But I don't mind it as a play, to be honest, as a bridge to maybe someone like a Jaden Campbell. Alright guys, we've been going for about 40 minutes. I'll do maybe another 5-10 minutes. I'll get onto my team as well and what my early thoughts are on trades, but then we'll probably wrap it up. I did want to keep the stream just a little bit shorter, but most likely we'll come back on Thursday to do another kind of second part for the week once we know what happens with Origin tomorrow. Would you buy Coates or Lomax this week? For me, still Lomax. I know Coates has been on fire and it's got the really good Titans matchup. He's got 2 tons in his last 2 weeks, but he's only 20k cheaper than Lomax, and I just think Lomax, I feel way more confident as just someone you lock in for the year. So yeah, I still think I take Lomax over Coates, despite the matchup really good this week. How's VC Gutherson into Drinkwater captain? As a bit worried about the low score again with Purdue in the halves. Yeah, actually that is a good point on Drinkwater. So yeah, I need to rewatch that Cowboys game because I did miss that game with Purdue playing in the 5'8" position. But yeah, Drinkwater only scored 14 points. That probably does add to the narrative of if you're not a Drinkwater owner, you probably can avoid it for this week just to see another week of how he goes with Purdue at 5'8". That's actually made me think now maybe I won't captain him just because of that. But I guess the hope could be that because they had the bye last week, they maybe were working on it in training. And yeah, I'm a bit scarred from not captaining the last fullback goal kicking versus the Tigers, Pappenhausen. And yeah, that ended me that week. Thoughts on Jazz Tafanga, Xavier Savage, and Kale Weeks, Aman? Xavier Savage, not super keen on. I don't think he scored very well last week. Yeah, mate, he scored 12 points last week. I know we don't always just go off what player scored the last week, but he's just too volatile for me. Like, if you look at some of these scores, he's had 114 and he's had 124. Apart from that, he's had a 19, 63, 43, 55, 17, 12, 36, 29, and another 12. Yeah, not for me. KO Weeks has actually looked better, but again, just be careful about round 19. The Raiders have the bye, and you don't want to load up on too many of them and then leave yourself short that round. Again, KO Weeks is similar to Savage, where he's just had really, really up and down scores this year. He's had 100 and 106 and a 73, but then he's also had a bunch of 30s and a bunch of 20s. I'm just not that interested in it, to be honest. And with Tavanga, mate, he just keeps being the gift keeps on giving for owners because he's been named at lock again, and his scores at lock are really good. 83, 46, 63, playing at lock this year. Honestly, I don't hate it if you are shopping at hooker, but again, long term, I'm not sure how good of a option is going to be if he goes back to being that kind of number 9 who's job sharing with Simkin. You know, he had scores of 29, 16, 29, 18, 30, 34 when he was playing that role. It's just in the last few weeks he's been blessed a little bit with playing that lock role, but I just don't think long term it's going to be a good option for you, in my opinion. Anyway, want to go aggressive? What about Toya for Tuipulotu? Yeah, again, I voiced my concerns earlier, Daniel, on Tuipulotu. Just the first week back from a hamstring, a pretty significant one at that. I'd just like to see it for a week. Is Billy Smith a sell? Was a question I saw earlier. Honestly, I think Billy Smith is completely fine to move on. If you want to, he's, apart from his buy coverage, there's nothing really about him that you want to keep. Like 43, 41, 34, 35. Since, mate, this exact same thing happened last year as well. He went 2 big scores, bang, bang. Everyone jumped on him, and then he just disappointed. So he started the year with 76, 79, and then a bunch of 30s and 40s. And if I go back to last year, I'm going to have a quick look at it here. I probably should have told myself this before buying him. Actually, no, he didn't play 2024. It was 2023, wasn't it? Let me have a quick look. Sorry. Billy Smith, where are you at? Also, yeah, shout out to NRL SuperCoach Stats for helping me out a lot. Yep. Billy Smith in 2023 scored 71 and 80, and then he went 24, 37, 38, 43. He's basically just doing the exact same thing as he did in 2023. So Billy Smith is completely fine to sell, but if you're looking for numbers in those major buy rounds, you will need him. So I think for me, I'm probably still keeping at this current point in time. Ricky Dawson with a $15 donation. Thank you so much. That is extremely generous. I have Teddy, Paps, and Iongi, Lucas, Sharp, Garrick, Toya, Munster, Hughes, and Hines. He's just saying his whole team. Tino, Olaquatu, Kolomatangi, Eli Katoa, McInnes, Fnul Blake, Tarpany, Jerome May. Anyone I'm missing at the moment, ranked around 5k. Ricky, I think for your team, is probably at fullback. So Iongi is good, but I think you will want Drinkwater by 15, is my view. Or you might want a turbo. So Iongi's fine for this week, but I do think that Iongi is getting to a point now where you could maybe look to move. I know he scored well last week, but I think he is still someone that you want to maybe eventually get up to a gun. Your centers, Lucas Sharp. I think your centers could also maybe get beefed up a little bit. Lucas Sharp and Garrick are fine. But Toya as your 4th, I'm not sure about. You probably do want to eventually get a Lomax, a Farnworth, Who else you've got? I'm just having a quick think about good centers to go for. You can even chuck in like maybe a Ewan Aitken into that if you wanted. A Val Holmes, a Hopewadi even. I do feel like that Toya isn't a reliable play. So Toya probably and Iongi are two guys I can already see at the moment. Munster and Hughes is fine, and Hines. Cleary's not a must-own during this Origin period. Your second row is good, and you've got McInnes, who's very solid, and your front row is also good. I assume that you sold Payne Haas last week. Yeah, so your team's actually looking pretty solid. But yeah, for me, Iongi and Toya are probably your two maybe quote-unquote weak spots. You also have Farnworth. There you go. So you do already have a Herbie Farnworth. You're just not playing this week. Honestly, your team's looking pretty decent, to be honest. I think you can kind of sit in your hands a little bit. But yeah, can't really see anyone who's jumping out as a glaring miss. Maybe Drinkwater's probably the only one I can think of. Love the opportunity to say, like the hair, mate. Looking good. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys like the stream, please do give it a thumbs up. Iongi has scored his 2 high scores without Moses. That's true, but again, that's a very small sample size, and I do think overall he looked better with Moses. Parramatta just looked better with Moses in the team. Iongi's he's such a good footy player in general. But yeah, for me, he's still not probably in that caliber of your Drinkwaters and stuff. He's got that 107 early this year, and I guess the 90 from last week. But Drinkwater went massive 3 weeks in a row. Pappy went huge. Teddy, we know, has got that massive ceiling. He himself is fine, Iongi, but I just think that at fullback, you need to get 3 of those guys who can, on any given week, just go huge hundreds. I just don't know if Iongi's at that level yet. Aman, I'm the only one who doesn't understand the hype on Turbo. Season stats are disgusting and cannot see him turning up anytime soon. Honestly, I was actually pretty happy with Turbo last week. So, I was yelling at the TV when Hopewadi went into touch because I thought he scored. And his forearm went into the touch before he scored the try. And I was like, oh my God, I just missed out on 50 points because I had Turbo. It would have been a Turbo try assist line break assist. And it would have been a Hopewadi try line break. And probably a tackle bus in there. So yeah, that was a very painful moment when Hopewadi didn't stay out of touch. But if that happened, Turbo would have gotten 92 points. And again, this is still not him looking 100%. I think Turbo still has that ton potential in him. Obviously, it's just annoying that he's gotten this aggravated cork. Honestly, it just means that if you don't own him, if you didn't get him, you just wait until at least round 15 when he's got the Titans if he plays. But then again, he misses round 16. So yeah, Turbo, I think for owners, it is what it is. You cop this week. You don't sell Turbo, in my opinion, because you bought him last week for the reason to play those major buy rounds. All right, guys, I will quickly get onto my team just to show you guys what I'm thinking. But yeah, please do give the stream a like if you've enjoyed it. Not looking too bad for this round, I think, in terms of numbers and coverage. Again, see what happens tomorrow, but there was a lot of all the Origin players effectively got named. So if they all play, then I think we're looking fine for this week. I'm probably only going to make one trade this round, which will probably be, you can see in my centers, Ero's on the bye, and I don't want to rely on playing like a Toya, Billy Smith, or a Adam Dewey. So for me, I will probably look to get Kolomatangi. I've got Lucas in second row. So I think I'm going to swap Lucas back down to center and get in Kolomatangi via selling one of those 3 center wings. I can afford a Hubner to Kolomatangi. So I've got 455k in the bank. But I just feel like there's no point in me going Hubner to Kolomatangi because then I think my team just becomes a bit imbalanced because my second row would be Tino, Katoa, Lucas, Horsburgh, White, Kolomatangi. It would mean I'm constantly having to reserve at least 1 second rower. I'm already reserving 1 front rower every week. I'm going to reserve a halfback every week, most weeks. That's already 3. And then fullbacks 4. It just means I'm potentially missing out on reserving a center any given week. So I don't necessarily think I need to go Hubner to Kolomatangi. Hubner's there. He plays 15. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep him for a while. And even Fahu White I'll keep just for buy coverage. He should be back, I think, in round 15. Adam Dewey doesn't play 15. He plays every other round, but he's not been that amazing as an option. The best thing about him was the dual status, but I think I'm pondering Toya, Dewey, or Billy Smith to Kolomatangi. My initial thought was Dewey. If Queensland lose tomorrow and it looks like Toya might play all those major and mini bye weeks, I'll probably keep Toya. If he misses, if he looks good and Queensland win, I actually might even just sell Toya this week. Either way, it will be probably one of those 2 centers for Koloamatangi. I just really like what I'm seeing. I know there's a risk that Koloamatangi could miss round 15 and get picked for New South Wales, but I just think he's performing so well that I think we just need to jump on. He's looking close to essential and the price is good. So that's probably going to be my most likely move this round, and I don't think I'll be doing anything else. My reserves will probably just be Terrell May, Horsburgh, Cleary, and probably either a Sanders Smith or maybe one of those other centres. But yeah, that team's otherwise looking fine. But we'll circle back to this once we know about the result for tomorrow and also any potential injuries and whatnot. I'll take these 2 super chat guys, and then I'll end the stream just because I've got a bit of a time crunch. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for tuning in, and thanks for those super chats. Radio Buckley with $10 donation, thank you very much, says, "Hey man, would love your thoughts on Hamish Stewart. Considering him as a downgrade from Horse this week, buy coverage and the role with no Dylan Egan, plus work rate makes him hard to look past. Love your work, mate." Thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I think Hamish Stewart actually is going to come into his own just as an option because of obviously with Dylan Egan going out for the season. More minutes will be available in the middle, and Toby Couchman's also only just returning from his injury. So yeah, if you look at his 3 games starting 13, 79, 48 and 74, he's 423k, and I think Hamish Stewart has got dual status. I think he's second row forward, front row forward. I think that's a really, really good option. We spoke about the Dragons being someone who is a good team to target for good buy coverage, and I think if he's got this 13 role, then yeah, he's got really, really good base. He did get some attacking stats in that first game at lock, so I don't think he's essential, but he's a bit awkwardly priced at 423k, but if you are looking around that price range, he probably is one of the better options. I'm probably just now at that point where I want to just lock in guns when I can, and obviously I've got the money to get like a Koloamatangi this week, but yeah, I think Hamish Stewart actually is completely viable as a pick. And Ricky Dawson with the other donation, thank you so much. Thanks, Amant. Scored 1055 with captain on Lucas last week. Captaining Dylan Lucas last week. Ricky, just tell me who you're captaining every round, because that is genius. Dylan Lucas captain. And this is, oh God, this is after all of that drama about him being reported to be out and all that kind of stuff as well. But no, Ricky, that's an amazing captain option for last week. And that's a good score as well in a major buy round. All right, guys, I am going to end it there. We'll be back probably on Thursday. If not, I'll put out a video on Friday with some updated thoughts. But hopefully you enjoyed the stream. I know it's a little bit different to probably what I normally do, less stats and everything. But let me know if you did enjoy it. Maybe it's easier for me to prep for these. So if you like this format, maybe I'll do a bit more of this. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Go the Blues tomorrow. Sorry, Queenslanders, but we've got to win tomorrow. And yeah, everyone enjoy State of Origin tomorrow. And we'll be back later in the week to chat.